Some free VST plugins can perform just as good and sometimes even better than their paid for counterparts. And in this video, I'm looking at 11 free VST plugins that I actually use in my projects, even though I own a ton of premium plugins, from EQs to reverbs, guitar amp sims, drums, and more. And be sure to stick around for the last one, as I put my favorite one of the bunch there, and it just might be the best one. I'm Zane, welcome to Audio Tech TV. Links to all of these free VST plugins are down in the description. And right now, let's jump in with the first one, which is Magic Switch from Baby Audio. This is based on chorus effects that are found on classic Juno synthesizers. The user interface is extremely easy to use. You have one button here in the middle that turns it on and off, and then you have a mix slider so you can mix in how much of this you want on your track. So it's very easy to enable the magic of this widening effect. Now, where I normally use this is on elements of the mix that I kind of want in the background. So backing vocals, synthesizers, but I'll also use this on bass guitar sometimes. It's available on Mac and Windows, and right now let's just check it out quickly on some backing vocals here. Here's the backing vocals with it off. And on. Now we'll hear it in the mix, starting with it off. It kind of widens the backing vocal, making space for other elements in the mix, but you can still hear that backing vocal stand out. Now, the next free VST that I use often is a de-esser plugin. This is called T-De-Esser from Tekivation. And this can help to get rid of unwanted sibilance and harshness. And there's not a whole lot of free de-esser plugins out there, but this one is great, free or not. Now, it has a very nice user interface. It's easy to use. You get some presets in here as well to help you get started. Now, I use this typically on my lead vocal track, but sometimes I'll put it onto a harsh instrument track as well, as it can smooth things out so it's not as harsh on the ears. And you can get the T-De-Esser on Mac or Windows. Now, let's just give this a listen on lead vocals here. And first, I'm going to turn it off.
Baby, your happiness seems like a fragile bubble.
Now, there's some harshness on those S's in there. It's just a little tinny. We'll add this to smooth it out.
Baby, your happiness seems like a fragile bubble.
It's a lot less harsh, and I can dial it in a little more if I wanted to. Now let's look at an instrument plugin that I often grab. This is OBXD from Disco DSP, and this is based on the classic Oberheim OBXD. It gives you that excellent classic sound, but also mixes in some modern features as well. And it is free from their website, but they do also have a $49 optional donation that you can give to get this plugin. It's available on Windows, Mac, and Linux, and this instrument always seems to find its way into my mixes. You can use this on mellow songs or even more rocking songs. And let's check out what I've got going on here. And now let's hear it in the mix. Very nice sounding instrument, and it's free. Now, next up is a reverb and delay plugin, kind of all in one. This is Valhalla Supermassive. And if you could only have one reverb plugin, free or paid, this one should be on your list of considerations for that one plugin, because it can do so much. I use this one all over the place. You can see in this mix, I have it on vocals. I have it on a reverb send where I send some other things into it. I know I have it on acoustic guitar in here as well. It's just a very good plugin that sounds great. The user interface is nice and clean. It comes with a lot of presets in here as well, and it's available on Mac or Windows. Now, let's just listen to it here on the vocal first.
Three lights in the sky, three lights blinking in the night, and they shine down on me, but I didn't feel a thing.
Listen to that in the mix now.
Three lights in the sky, three lights blinking in the night, and they shine down on me, but I didn't feel a thing.
Not too bad. It really helps that vocal to stand out in the mix a bit. Next on the list is a bass amp sim, and this is Bass Deluxe from Lost in 70s. I use this plugin on pretty much every single one of my projects. It's an excellent sounding tube bass amp sim. It's laid out just like an actual amp head. You have two channels that you can switch between. You have a drive setting, a boost, compressor on board, plus some presence, and a very nice EQ section here. And you also have a pedal board that you can turn these on and off. There's a tuner built into it, and you even have cabinet sims built into it, and you can bypass those altogether if you really want to. So let's listen to this on our bass guitar right now. Now this is the bass sound that I want for this song. I want it to be a little more in the high range and not so bassy. It's kind of a punk song, so I want that bass line to really stick out. Now let's listen to it in the mix. It just adds some nice character to that bass line, and of course you can see I have the lows rolled right off, which is why this wasn't so bassy, but that's typically how I use this in a mix. Now here's an excellent free EQ plugin that I've been giving a try more and more often. This is Merica from Analog Obsession. And this one's based on the API 550A hardware EQ. And you can see it has a nice clean user interface. You have 5 EQ centers that you can choose for each of the 3 bands that you can control. So you would change the EQ center by adjusting this here. And you can control how much you want to add or take away by using this dial here. And you also have this band pass filter that you can turn on and off down here. Plus there's an oversampling feature down at the bottom there that you can turn on and off as well. You can get this one on Windows or Mac, and I typically use this one on my guitars, but I've been trying it out more and more on drums and vocals. So right now, let's just check it out on our guitar bus here. And you can hear it really brings out a nicer sound in that guitar. It takes away some of that muddiness that's there when it's off. Now let's listen to it in the mix for a minute so you can hear how it helps the guitar stand out in the mix.
Friday night and you're mad at me again. If you were the queen of hearts, it'd be up with my head, oh yeah. I don't know what I said, I don't know what I did, but you think I should be bowing to your feet, oh yeah.
You can hear when I turn it off, the guitar kind of falls back in the mix a little bit, and this just helps it to break through and makes it more up front in the mix. I really like this plugin on the guitar. It thickens it up and just really makes it sound great. Now, another free VST plugin that I use quite often is the MT Power Drum Kit 2. And this one gives you the sound of an acoustic drum kit. And it also includes some great MIDI grooves in here. So you could go in here, click on a groove, press play. And you can listen to these and audition them, find a drum beat that fits your song, and then you can easily just drag and drop it into there. And you can use more than one of these MIDI grooves. You can just build a whole song through these. And another thing I like about this is the mixer section. You can see it supports multi-output. So I can output each of these individual drums to their own individual tracks, and I can put effects on just the kick drum, just the snare, and so on. And then I can also have effects on the overall drum bus. And so let's hear what this sounds like. It's a very, very basic drum beat here. And now let's listen to it in the mix here. It's a nice, simple drum plugin, very easy to use, and it can add drum beats to your tracks instantly. And next up is an excellent guitar amp sim. This is Amplitube Custom Shop from IK Multimedia. Now, this is the older version here. This was a song that I actually released using this plugin, and it was the older version. They are now on to version 5, and I've used Amplitube Custom Shop for years. The free version, which is Custom Shop, it comes with 39 pieces of gear, which includes 5 amps, 6 cabinets, plus a bunch of effects. Amplitube Custom Shop is available on Mac and Windows, and one of the things I really like about it is if you're doing double tracking guitars, so recording one guitar on the left, another one on the right, you can have different amps and different amp sounds for each guitar. And that can really help you with your stereo separation. So you can see on this one, the left, I have a Marshall style amp. If we go to the right, I have a Fender style amp there. Now let's give this a listen. Not too bad. There's a bunch of free presets in here if you wanted to go through and give those a listen. I think you can download a bunch more if you wanted. And of course, these amps are laid out like guitar amps, so you can dial in your sound just like you would on a real guitar amp. Now, the next free VST plugin that I actually use is the Ozone Imager from iZotope. Now, this is actually the Imager module from the full Ozone plugin. Now, this will allow you to take mono tracks and make them stereo, and it can also help to widen tracks. And that's typically how I use this. I'll use it to widen individual elements in a mix, like maybe my guitars or my synths, something like that. Or sometimes I'll use it on the whole mix. And iZotope Ozone Imager is available for free on Mac or Windows. And let's just check it out right now on our guitar bus here. So you can hear it makes a little bit of a difference, but when we put it into the mix, you're going to notice a big difference. So let's listen to it in the mix now.
Dance, dance, but I don't know how to move my feet. She said just move, move, but I don't know what is. She said let's go, go. I said sure, but where we gonna be? She took my hand and looked my way and said just follow me. Something in her eye, I'll follow her till the end.
You can hear it widens the guitars and makes more space in the mix for other elements, and it just sounds great on there. It's a very nice plugin, absolutely free. And the next free VST plugin that I use quite often is Baby Comeback from Baby Audio. And this is a very easy to use delay plugin. It's actually kind of like having 4 delays in one because you have 4 different flavors and each one is a different delay type. You have wide, analog, saucy, and cheap. You have your typical delay controls here. Now, I typically use this on lead vocals, but I also use it on lead guitar sometimes as well. It's available on Mac and Windows, and right now let's check it out on lead vocals. So we're just going to try it without the mix, just so you can hear it.
Then we danced, bopped and boomed, tripping over our feet in her room, and we rocked, rattled and rolled, and I...
Now, this next plugin I've been using more and more lately. This is the Warmy EP1A EQ from Keeve Audio. This is a passive EQ that's based on a hardware version of a Pultec EQ from Warm Audio. And this plugin's extremely easy to use. It's well laid out. You have all of your EQ functions up here. You have oversampling up to 16 times if you really wanted to. You have undo and redo for any of the settings in here. You have a mix control in here, and you have input and output levels. Plus there's presets built into it as well. Now, I use this on guitars, bass guitar, vocals, pretty much everywhere. But where I really use it all the time is on the mix bus, and it's available on Mac and Windows. Now let's check it out on the mix bus just to hear what it does there. It just really smooths everything out and brings it all together and makes the entire mix sound great together. Now, if you want to check out 5 more FreeVST plugins for your mix bus, click the video on the screen right now. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching. For Audio Tech TV, I'm Zane. Keep creating, and we'll talk soon.